School. Welcome to Class 24 Alpha's graduation. I'm Major Mateus Borek, Assistant Director of Operations, lovingly referred to as Class Mom, and it is my honor to serve you as your MC tonight. We have a memorable program for you today as we graduate 32 students in Class 24 Alpha and celebrate a distinguished alumnus. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the playing of our national anthem, Invocation by Chaplain Timothy Sessions, and a moment of silence for our prisoners of war and missing in action.
All right. Please join me for a quick word of prayer. Almighty God, this evening we pause to invite your presence among us as we gather to celebrate Class 24 Alpha's graduation. Over the past year, our best and brightest aviators have dedicated countless hours to hone their skills in order to advance our nation's air and space dominance. We thank you for giving them the strength and the wisdom to grow and persevere in the midst of their own testing. We are also grateful for the guidance of their instructors who shared their knowledge with each student and the support of coworkers, friends, and family who have cheered them along throughout this year of training. May each 24 Alpha graduate see today's graduation as more than a destination, but also as a launch pad for future opportunities and innovation in building the capabilities of tomorrow. Finally, I ask that you would bless our time of fellowship and celebration this evening with great joy. Continue your watch over those deployed and serving in harm's way, and bring them home safely to enjoy the freedoms they fight so hard to protect. I offer this prayer in your mighty name. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Sessions. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. As you enter the dining area, you may have noticed a table at the front. It is reserved to honor our missing comrades in arms. I would like to ask you for a moment of silence as we remember our comrades. A table set for one, the empty place represents our missing from the United States military. This honor ceremony symbolizes that they are with us here in spirit. Some here in this room are very young when they were sent into combat. However, all Americans should never forget the brave men and women who answered our nation's call to serve and serve the cause of freedom in a special way. I would like to explain the meaning of the items on this special table. The table is round, show our everlasting concern for our missing. The tablecloth is white, symbolizing the purity of their motives when answering the call to duty. A single red rose, displayed in a vase, reminds us of the life of each of the missing and their loved ones and friends of these Americans who keep the faith, awaiting answers. The vase is tied with a yellow ribbon. a symbol of our continued determination to account for our missing. Slice of lemon on the bread plate is to remind us of the bitter fate of those captured and missing in a foreign land. Pinch of salt symbolizes the tears endured by those missing and their families who seek answers. The glass is inverted to symbolize their inability to share this evening's toast. Chair is empty. They are missing. Please charge your water glasses to stand as we rise and to honor America's prisoners of war missing in action and our unwavering efforts to account for them. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. I would now like to recognize a few of our distinguished guests. Please hold your applause until they have all been introduced. From the United States Air Force Test Pilot School, our host, Colonel James Valpiani, Commandant, and his wife, Mrs. Natalie Valpiani. Lieutenant Colonel Sean Siddiqui, Deputy Commandant, and his wife, Mrs. Crystal Valde-Siddiqui. Mr. David Van Hoy, Technical Director, and his wife, Mrs. Halida Van Hoy. Dr. Andrew Freeborn, Technical Director of Space. Master Sergeant Theo Dinwiddie, Senior Enlisted Leader. From the Air Force Test Center, Major General Scott Kane, Commander, and his wife, Mrs. Michelle Kane. Chief Master Sergeant Jeffrey Martin, Command Chief, and his wife, Mrs. Wendy Martin. From the 412th Test Wing, Brigadier General Douglas Wicker, Commander. From the Space Training and Readiness Command, Brigadier General Matthew Cantore, Deputy Commander. From Space Delta 12, Colonel Sasha Tomlinson, Commander. We'd also like to welcome Ambassador Warren Tichenor, former United States Ambassador to the United Nations, and his wife, Mrs. Rhonda Tichenor. The Honorable Abel Maldonado, former Lieutenant Governor of California, and his wife, Mrs. Laura Maldonado. And Lieutenant General Robert Bishop, United States Air Force, retired. Please join me in welcoming our guests. I would also like to extend a warm welcome to the many distinguished guests, commanders, family members, and friends of Class 24 Alpha who are joining us today in person, as well as those watching the ceremony virtually. Special thank you to the people who organized this event, 24 Alpha's graduation committee, the TPS staff, public affairs, multimedia, and Still Waters Catering for the delicious food.
The Distinguished Alumnus Award is presented to a prior United States Air Force Test Pilot School graduate selected by the graduating class that recognizes the incredible contributions of an individual to the flight test community. This person was a graduate of TPS Class 89 Bravo and had a 20-year career in the Air Force, serving as a flight test engineer in both developmental and operational testing. Notably, he served as an instructor at the United States Air Force Academy and the United States Test Pilot School during their military career. His passion for instruction and continued dedication to the USAF Test Pilot School mission continued after their active duty career as he transitioned into civilian service. He is a performance master instructor, having now served over 21 years on the TPS staff. For a significant and lasting contribution to the education of nearly 1,000 graduates at the United States Air Force Test Pilot School, Class 24 Alpha has chosen the Chief Soaring Instructor Pilot of the USAF Test Pilot School, Mr. Russell Erb, to receive the Distinguished Alumnus Award. Please join me in a round of applause for our distinguished alumnus. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct honor to introduce our guest speaker, Colonel Terry Virts, Jr. Colonel Virts graduated from the United States Air Force Academy in 1989 with academic distinction, earning a Bachelor of Science in Mathematics and graduate of the United States Air Force Test Pilot School, Class 98 Bravo. He has logged over 5,300 flight hours across 40 aircraft types, including 45 combat missions in the F-16. Selected by NASA in 2000, Colonel Wirtz flew as Endeavor's pilot on STS-130, contributing to the assembly of the International Space Station. He also commanded Expedition 43 in 2015, logging 212 days in space and conducting 3 spacewalks totaling 19 hours. Since retiring from NASA in 2016, Terry has continued to contribute to the field of aerospace and exploration. Due to a medical emergency, Colonel Wirtz is unable to join us in person. However, he graciously recorded a presentation to share with us this evening.
Hey everybody, this is Terry Wirtz. I'm a Air Force Test Pilot School graduate, Class 98B, and it is a real honor to have been asked to be the graduation speaker. I am so sorry, I'm just gutted that I can't be there in person. I had back surgery recently. I think 30 years of flying ejection seat airplanes had something to do with that, and unfortunately it got infected. If you hear me scream or grimace, it's because of this back issue I'm dealing with. So the doctor told me no traveling. So I'm really sorry. I just wanted to share this one story that I have from testing in space that I think is pretty relevant to what you guys are going to be doing here for the Air Force. And by the way, it's such an important time. The Air Force has a huge number of needs for combat aircraft, for support aircraft. There's a lot of flight testing that needs to happen. So this is a really cool time. I'm very jealous of where you guys are right now. But it is an honor, so thank you for inviting me to this. So congratulations to the future test pilots and flight test engineers. You guys are gonna have a great career ahead of you. There's a few things that you learn at test pilot school that will help you no matter what you do in life, testing in the Air Force or Navy or other nations where you guys are from. Or if you go into the civilian world as in an engineering capacity or at NASA, wherever you end up, there's that you learn. And one of the most important, I think, is the idea of build-up approach. That applies to any business out there, but this idea of you don't just jump in and do the full-blown thing right away. You have a build-up approach. That's important. The idea that you have to understand statistics. We used to joke that if you give me one data point, I can make a curve. And if you give me 2 data points, I can make a family of curves. So that's true when you're writing your TPS papers, but in real world, that doesn't work like that. So understanding that, I think, is a really great foundation that you have. And then the importance of operationally relevant testing, testing things out. Managers always want to cancel testing, especially if you test it and it works, then they're like, well, why did I bother testing it? It works. That was a waste of money. No, it wasn't a waste of money. You want to make sure that things work. So the story that I have is from my first space flight. Excuse me. I had been at NASA for a long time, almost a year waiting. I was a pilot, and for a lot of reasons, basically my age group had to wait between 8 and 12 years to fly. It was a long wait. So finally, they told me I was going to fly on STS-130. It was the final space station assembly mission. And so my boss in Houston said, hey, fly down to the Kennedy Space Center and look at this hardware. We were going to bring up something called Node 3 and Cupola. Node 3 is a big living module. It's one of the standard school bus size kind of cans that you see when you look at the ISS. And the Cupola was a really cool, it's every astronaut's favorite place. It's the coolest thing ever. It's a 7-windowed module that was going to go on the bottom of Node 3. So they wanted me to go to the Kennedy Space Center and do a test because they were going to test out to see if these 2 modules would fit together. And by the way, we were the first and last and only assembly flight where we brought up 2 modules on the same flight. Normally you just brought up 1 module. So I go down to KSC and I look, and there's the Cupola, which is kind of the size. It's a bay window. 2 people could squeeze in there. It's a few feet deep. There's 6 windows around you, and there's a window above you. My little logo here in the background is in the shape of the cupola. And then Node 3 is this big school bus size thing, and they're both in the same room. It's called the SSPF. It's this huge building. It's probably bigger than any hangar at Edwards. It's a big building. And the node 3 is sitting there by itself, and the cupola is sitting there 100 feet apart. They're right next to each other. And they wanted me to test the cupola with a node 3 simulator. So it was this big kind of plastic thing that was right next to the cupola, and I was supposed to see if it fit and see if I could take the electric and power and data cables from the cupola and plug them into the node 3 simulator. So, and I'm a rookie. I've never flown yet. Like, I'm the new guy. Okay, so I'm a rookie. So I go down there and I crawl under it. I'm on my back. It's like changing your oil. It's super uncomfortable. And I reach around and I grab the cable and I pull it out and it doesn't fit. Like they're just not connecting. So I roll myself out and I go talk to the old crusty, senior engineers there. The cables don't fit. So they roll their eyes. They're like, rookie, he doesn't know what he's doing. They go down there, they come out a couple minutes later, they're all mad and frustrated. That doesn't fit. I'm like, I know it doesn't fit. I told you it doesn't fit. And if I have some pictures that I wanted to show you guys, but if you look at the pictures, they're like bundles of wires, like a thick garden hose with 100 skinny little wires in there. And they're all wrapped up with these like zip ties, keeping up this bundle of wires together. And they said, well, if you cut some of those, the zip ties holding these things in there, that'll free up, you'll get a few more inches. And I'm like, but this is flight hardware. This thing is going into space. I don't want to cut things. And they're like, well, we're not allowed to do it, but your crew, you can do whatever you want. So anyway, I probably unwisely agreed. So I go down there and I have these scissors and I'm like reaching around. I can barely reach in there and snip. I cut these zip ties and vroom, I get a few more inches out of the cable and they connect, just barely. And so I go out of there and I'm like, all right, guys, it fits, but this is a simulator. This isn't the real thing. The real thing is right over there. Why don't we roll node 3 or the cupola over there and see if it fits on node 3? And they're like, oh, no, we can't do that. We don't have time. We don't have schedule. There's nothing, not enough money in the budget. There's no time for this. And I said, well, we're not launching for over a year. Just roll it over there and see if it fit. No, that's too much hassle. So what do I know? I'm just a rookie. So I fly back to Houston. A year goes by and I'm in space. And we launch node 3 in the payload bay of the shuttle. You look out the back of the shuttle and you see these big modules back in the space shuttle. And the cupola is in the front of it. But when we get to space, we need to take it off and put it on the bottom so that you have a view of Earth. And so my job was robotics, so I pull this big 30,000-pound thing out and we hand it over to the station and we attach node 3 to the space station. But the cupola is still on the end. So node 3 is where it should be, but the cupola is on the end of it. So tomorrow we need to pull the cupola off and relocate it to the bottom of node 3. So we go down there and we have to do some preparation to get the modules ready to undock it from one hatch and redock it to another hatch. And as part of that, there's this big cover. It's called a CDC, a centerline disc cover. It's made out of, the material is like a fabric. It's an outer space thermal blanket. So it's sort of fabric, sort of felt, sort of metal, this weird plasticky material. So you put the CDC in there just to protect that module while it's exposed to space. So we try and put this cover in there to protect it while we open the hatch and it's exposed to space. And I put it in, and it's my job. I'm the rookie. I don't know what I'm doing. So I go down there and you put it in there and you flip these latches over. It's kind of like vice grips. You put the vice grips on and then there's an over center thing. So I put the cover in there and I'm like, this isn't really fitting. And I'm trying to latch it into place and it doesn't fit. And I try and I'm the rookie and I don't want to be the guy that doesn't know what he's doing. So finally I go to the senior astronaut, Jeff Williams. He's the old man of the sea. He's been there forever. And he's like, rolls his eyes. The rookie doesn't know what he's doing. He goes down there and he can't get it to fit either. So we have this big meeting with Houston. And we're like, Houston, like the clearances are a lot tighter than we thought. They're these mechanical things that are supposed to drive bolts remotely and they're supposed to attach the module and do a good seal. And they're just bigger than we thought. And so the real worry wasn't the CDC cover. The real worry quickly became that will the cupola fit in this site? If the things are bigger than we thought and there's not enough clearance. So we went to bed that night in space thinking that we weren't going to be able to relocate the cupola. We kind of thought that the cupola was a failure. That the module that most astronauts look forward to more than anything, and the one that they love today more than anything, we didn't think it was going to be able to work because we didn't think it was going to fit. When we woke up, Houston said, well, go ahead and try it. We'll see if you can squeeze it in there. So I was a robotics guy, so it was like, my eyes were wide, and we were able to barely with that much clearance get this cupola module attached to the bottom of Node 3. So the lesson learned was, why the heck didn't we test this thing when we had it on the ground, and we would have figured this out on Earth before we launched it into space? But the guys wanted to save a few bucks and not spend the time and effort to test it on Earth. So that's a very powerful lesson that I know it costs time, I know it costs money, I know it's probably not going to do anything, but you have to test things out before you get to space, and then it doesn't work, and then what do you do then? So that's my lesson as a test pilot in outer space. But those lessons apply on Earth if you're doing B-21, if you're doing F-35, if you're doing C-17, whatever you're doing. Testing's important, and try and do it in the most operationally relevant manner that you can. Don't use the Node 3 simulator when you have the actual Node 3 sitting there. So that's my lesson learned. Congratulations, everybody. It's a huge accomplishment. I really, really wish I was there. I will come out to Edwards the next chance. Once I get my back fixed, I will come out and hopefully see you guys as much as I can. But congratulations on this huge accomplishment. And I look forward to seeing the great things that you guys do in the Air Force and in the Navy and in the Army and in the French Air Force and wherever else you guys are from. Congratulations.
On behalf of Class 24 Alpha, we would like to sincerely thank Colonel Wirtz again. We are grateful for his support this evening and wish him a smooth recovery.
The graduating class consists of 12 experimental test pilots, 10 flight test engineers, 1 experimental test weapons systems officer, 1 experimental test remotely piloted aircraft pilot, 4 space test engineers, and 4 experimental test space operators. Included among our graduates are the finest from the United States Air Force, United States Marine Corps, the United States Space Force, and the Royal Australian Air Force. These students have completed one of the most demanding courses in the world. Each student completed over 2,500 hours of academics and 120 hours of flight training. Each student had 6 hours per day of instructor contact time, not including academic and flight preparation time. As a final graduation exercise, the students demonstrated learning from across the curriculum by planning and executing real-world test management projects. Students, please stand as your test management project, is also known as TMP, is presented. Class 24 Alpha's projects included. HAVNAR TMP was a classified effort that enabled data collection on 9 different aircraft for DARPA use. The team flew 11 sorties totaling 14.2 hours in the F-16D, T-38C, and C-12. They also worked with participating units around Edwards Air Force Base, Nellis Air Force Base, Point Mugu Naval Air Station to facilitate an additional 10 sorties. Team members included Captain Joseph Arson Christensen as project manager and test pilot, Major Patrick Hyde Lewis and Captain Johannes Brute Weinberg as test pilots, Captain Josh Gizmo Rosler as test remotely piloted aircraft pilot, and Captain Tyler Dak Despard and First Lieutenant Tommy Ziplock O'Brien as flight test engineers. The Half Spice TMP The Half-Spice TMP characterized 2 augmented flight controllers for applications in the development and testing of future manned and unmanned flight platforms for Lockheed Martin Skunk Works and 3 Laws Robotics. The team worked with Calspan, Lockheed Martin, and 3 Laws Robotics for 10 sorties totaling 13.6 hours in the X-62 Alpha Vista and 17 sorties totaling 16 hours in supporting T-38C target aircraft. Team members include Major Matthew Bilbo Bliley as project manager and test pilot, Captain Sean Shag Ging and Captain Nathaniel Midas Such as test pilots, and Captain Mark Reboot Adams, Captain Dylan Macramuramoto, and Captain Niles Dibbs Tate as flight test engineers. The HAF-Thor TMP characterized the acoustic environment of a simulated internal weapons bay to support the Air Force Sea Eagle office in integrating state-of-the-art weapons on current and future generations of aircraft. Team worked with Sea Eagle office, Air Force Research Labs, and Air Force Institute of Technology for 3 sorties totaling 3.0 hours in the F-16D. Team members include First Lieutenant Mitchell Bama Jensen as project manager and test pilot, Major Matthew Fate Kale and Captain Warren Pappy Dishner as test pilots, Captain Noah Bouncer Bender, First Lieutenant Caleb Quick Overby, and Captain Joseph Bone Springer as flight test engineers. The HAV Rhino Canary TMP characterized the vertical accuracy of 2 separate baro inertial loops to better understand the vertical challenges that face dynamically maneuvering aircraft operating in GPS-denied environments. The team worked with the 586th and 746th out of Holloman Air Force Base and executed 4 test and 4 chase T-38 sorties for a total of 8 flight hours. Team members include Captain Michael Slapkostik as project manager and test weapons systems officer, Captain Justine Flap Mulligan, Captain David Ditch Durham as flight test engineers, and Captain Ismail Split Baumi, Major Joseph Mittens Tom, and Major Shane Beast Gurman as test pilots. HAB Mosaic TMP characterized selected modeling and usability features of Mosaic, an orbital modeling software platform developed by True Anomaly. Team conducted over 60 ground test hours comprised of operationally relevant space scenario creation and human systems integration lab events. TPS students, staff, and members of the 8th Combat Training Squadron contributed to a robust 40-member HSI data collection. Team members included First Lieutenant Michael Lasso Britton as project manager, Captain Caleb Flex Exposito as director of engineering, Captain Justin Atlas Bishop as director of communications, Major Kara Crush Mehdi as Director of Operations, each serving a dual role as space test operator and engineer. The HAB Patronus TMP characterized the Harrier telescope system to aid the 98th Space Range Squadron developing its concept of operations for future testing, training, and range operations in a geostationary Earth orbit regime. Team worked with Exoanalytic Solutions and JT4 to characterize its field of view, field of regard, and frame stacking capabilities. Team also coordinated with Space Systems Command to coordinate the LDPE-1 and on-orbit maneuver to characterize Harrier's resolution. Testing consisted of 32 ground test hours in Colorado. Team members included Captain Earl Hack Santos as project manager, Captain Kevin M. Tran, Captain Jan Sage Hortas as project engineers, and Lieutenant Colonel Dustin Dangle White as project operator.
Alpha, Mahalanobis. Yeah, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to have you all here on this occasion. We didn't get to bring it into the script, but it's a historic event in terms of the number of graduates that we have. 32 students here on both the flight and space test course sides. And it's really a pleasure to be able to honor both the flight and space test courses here this evening. Before we move on to announce the student awards, it seems only fitting to recognize the group of outstanding professionals who were directly responsible for teaching and training these new graduates. Would all the members of the TPS faculty and staff, including attached personnel, past and present, please stand and be recognized. It is now time to recognize the top individual student performers. Through a combination of graded operational events, academic exams and reports, as well as ratings from their classmates, a few individuals are honored for their unique success and contribution to TPS and the graduating class. Each of these recipients will receive a personal plaque and have their names inscribed on a trophy displayed at the school. As your name is called, please join me on stage to receive your award. The first award, the Aaron C. George Warrior Award, recognizes the student who most exemplified the warrior-focused attitude to field the best weapon system possible. This award is voted on by members of each class and presented to the student who always remembered the reason why we are here, the warfighter. The award is named in honor of Major Aaron C. George, Class 99 Bravo, who was lost while flying an F-16 photo chase mission with the 416 Flight Test Squadron. TPS Class 99 Bravo has set up a permanent display at Test Pilot School, a Mark 82 500-pound bomb engraved with the names of the award recipients. The recipient of the Aaron C. George Warrior Award is Captain Josh Gizmo Rosler. Congratulations, Gizmo. Our second award, the Ellison Onizuka Prop Wash Award, is given to the one person who contributed the most to class spirit and morale. Captain Onizuka won the award for TPS Class 74 Bravo, and it was subsequently renamed in his memory after he was lost in the Space Shuttle Challenger tragedy. The recipient of the Onizuka Prop Wash Award is Major Joseph Mittens Tom. Congratulations, Mittens. The third award, the Lethan Tittle Award, recognizes the class's most outstanding test pilot graduate. The award is named after Major Frank Lethan, TPS Class 61 Charlie, who was lost in 1966 while flying with the Thunderbirds, and Major David Tittle, TPS Class 55 Delta, who was lost in 1966 while testing the XV-5 vertical takeoff and landing aircraft at Edwards. The recipient of the Lethan Tittle Award is Major Shane Beast Gurman. Congratulations, Beast. Our fourth award, the Raymond L. Jones Award, is presented to the most outstanding flight test engineer or combat systems officer graduate. The award is named for Colonel Raymond L. Jones, a former staff instructor and deputy commandant of the Test Pilot School. He was instrumental in the formulation of the flight test engineering program. The recipient of the Raymond L. Jones Award is Captain Michael Slap Costick. Congratulations, Slap. Our fifth award, and our newest, the United States Space Force Outstanding Student Award, is presented to the graduating United States Space Force student with the best overall record for outstanding performance. The recipient of the Space Force Outstanding Student Award is First Lieutenant Michael Lasso Britton. Congratulations, Lasso. Our final recognition is given for individual distinction. Students of Class 24 Alpha have worked extremely hard during this past year, with 5 students earning the title of Distinguished Graduate. When your name is called, please stand to be recognized. The distinguished graduates of Class 24 Alpha are First Lieutenant Michael Lasso Britton, Major Shane Beast Gurman, First Lieutenant Caleb Quick Overby, Captain Michael Slap Costick, and Captain Joshua Gizmo Rosler. Congratulations to our distinguished graduates. It is now time to bring both Major Matthew Bilbo Bliley and Lieutenant Colonel Dustin Dangle White to the podium to provide the class leader address. The class leader job is traditionally assigned to one senior ranking officer. However, in this first joint flight and space test class at TPS, both Bilbo and Dangle had the privilege of serving as senior ranking officers for their flight and space cohorts. They had the responsibility to lead from within and pass the unique perspectives of both flight and space classes to TPS leadership. They worked to navigate the merger of air and space training in real time, creating a united path forward for TPS classes to come. They did all of this amid their packed academic schedule alongside their classmates. I had the privilege of meeting with Bilbo and Dangle on a regular basis over the last year, and they consistently displayed the kind of leadership and professionalism that we expect of all of our test leaders. Bilbo and Dangle, thank you both for your hard work as class leaders. The floor is yours.
All right, good evening and Mahalo Novus. I'll try that again. Mahalo Novus? Nope. All right, here we go. All right, congratulations, Class 24 Alpha. This class represents the largest evolution in test pilot school in a generation. The challenges of this year extended well beyond growing the space test course academically into a min-viable product. It also involved growing the community around it. The TPS staff, flight test course students, and their spouses and families all welcomed this new batch of space testers into their sacred schoolhouse, homes, and hearts. On behalf of all space test course students and families, thank you. Thank you for making this year in the desert as welcoming, supportive, and integrated as possible. You ensured everyone who was part of 24 Alpha felt like we were one big test pilot school family. This is the part of the program where Faster and Funnier gets me off the stage, gets you with your families, but it hopefully leaves you with some lasting memories of this year here at Test Pilot School. From the meme doors to the bathroom walls, there was a lot of, let's just say, crawling, walking, and running to graduation, one meme at a time. I can't thank you enough for the awesome entertainment throughout the year. There's lots of mentorship and laughs along the way. In alphabetical order, Bilbo and I will share notables and quotables from each student in 24 Alpha. Justin Atlas Bishop, I pushed really hard to call you Pooh Bear instead of Atlas due to your kindness and soft-spoken nature. But the reality is the thought of you Pooh Bearing it while eating chicken nuggies, chugging milk after a hot desert dirt bike ride is an image I'll always have of you after your family overshared just a little bit too much during your promotion ceremony. Good, this is where you're supposed to laugh. Michael Lasso Britton. Personally, I think you're more Ted Lasso than Ted Lasso. From your constant positivity, uncanny natural leadership, and Texas-sized drawl and heart, you should have been casted for the role instead of Jason Sudeikis. TPS is a stressful environment, and just like Led Tasso, we all had our moments, a panic attack or two. It's okay, we were there with you. Flex Caleb Exposito. As a Dungeons and Dragon playing, vintage leather coat wearing, kitty cat loving, bodybuilding, number crunching tester, you always did a great job of making me feel insignificant in the gym, and thank you for never asking me to spot you, because I don't know how it would have gone. From eating a tower of sushi plates stacked taller than you, to being obnoxiously loud and inappropriate at the worst possible times, your lack of social graces and don't give a Delta V attitude made this year an awkward, anxiety-filled experience. Thank you, don't ever change. Jan Sage Huertas, the classroom ninja. Despite living almost an hour away in Palmdale, you somehow, more often than not, could time your arrival to class to within plus 0, minus 59 seconds to the start of class, while also ninja bombing out of class within minus 0, plus 59 seconds. You definitely win the efficiency award for least time spent in the classroom. Well done, Sage. You represented the Air Force in the space test course quite well. Kara Crush Mehdi, the small silent type. If there was ever a lady whistle down of TPS, you were certainly it. Constantly underrated, overlooked, and never asking questions, you quietly absorbed everything and then crushed exams, reports, and presentations. Sage may have been the classroom ninja, but you were definitely the academic ninja. Earl Hack Santos. If we had $1 for every time you rolled your eyes, mumbled obscenities under your breath, or corrected others, we could have funded business class tickets to Australia and back, maybe twice. We all know you're sweet, humble, human underneath that tough, smart guy exterior, and we don't blame you for being grumpy. It's clear you just failed to get the Edwards vaccine, as evidenced by you being sick 80% of the year with the high desert flu. For the staff year, maybe consider developing an Edwards vaccine and making sure all incoming students get it before the start of 25 Alpha. Kevin Amp Tran, not gonna lie, you afforded me an opportunity to continue acting like a father figure throughout the year. Despite you receiving multiple disappointed dad looks from me for typing voraciously like an animal on your keyboard, violently writing on your tablet, shaking every chair, desk, or simply always moving perpetually, I appreciated seeing you grow throughout the year. The absolute best dad win for me was your look on your face when you passed your comp oral. It really did make the year for me, and thank you, Kevin. At this point, it wouldn't be fair for me to continue commenting on the flight test course students. I did see you, I did have experiences with you, but not to the degree of Bilbo. Bilbo, man, you are the most calm, mellow, low-key major I've ever met. It was genuinely a pleasure and an honor to dual SRO this year with you. And I can't thank you enough for your support throughout this year of integrating Class 24 Alpha. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Over to you.
Thanks, Dangle. I'm here to talk on behalf of the flight test course. I'm proud to say that all 24 of us that began this year walk across the stage tonight, even after our historically low exam scores in General Wickard's basic aerodynamics class. I think those are his words, not mine. As a class, we never let a setback keep us down. Like Doolittle's Raiders, we found novel solutions to complex problems and unique ways to let off steam. You have heard about the challenging year that is TPS, but now let me introduce you to the class. The class whose good attitude and high, if not a little weird, morale contributed to our success. Mittens has been the center of that morale for 24 Alpha. Whether it was organizing club pushes to challenge the Bobs at Crud or roof stomping the wrong house, this Legacy Hornet pilot tried his best to assimilate into Air Force flying culture while holding on to his Marine roots. Bouncer was quickly dubbed the king of the drag puller, but she still couldn't figure out how push times worked, showing up 10 minutes late to her own push just 2 weeks ago. It's been a tough year for Bama as the only foreigner in class, but good thing he had ChatGPT to translate all the lectures from English to Australian. Little do you know, but this former au pair was really selected by TBS to babysit Reboot on the weekends. As a class, we're still not fully convinced that Reboot is fully human. You would think that being part computer, he would respond to your text messages better, or at all, really. If he hasn't told you yet, this smart cookie works mostly on artificial intelligence, which mostly means he instructs Bama on the best phrases for ChatGPT prompts. Fade. You look confused. Thanks for providing the class with an endlessly upbeat attitude. Even when your only S16 for your TMP broke, then something fell off of it, then it broke again, then something else also fell off of it. This big dog service to the class as a sacrificial lamb to the splash zone will never be forgotten. Gizmo is the best ID department you could ever ask for, and that's only his third or fourth best skill. The staff may have been continuously confused about his syllabus being the only RPA pilot in the class, but he can fix that when he comes back and teaches. On the other side of the IT spectrum is Brute, whose computer skills peak with Microsoft Paint. This 4.5 gen for life pilot is 24 Alpha's leading boomer. And he is always the first person to throw spears at the LPA. Speaking of the LPA, Ziploc is his heart and soul. Always has been. Caleb's love of flying is matched only by his inner ear's inability to accept inverted flight. Chaos, don't be surprised if you get a text message every time you have an empty backseat in the A29 or F-16. Quick is the other LT in the flight test course. Don't let his baby face fool you. Tommy barely looks old enough to drink, but he somehow showed up to TPS with a master's degree from MIT already. Bones can easily grow the best mustache in the entire class, and won both Mustache March and No Shave November while giving everyone else a 2-week head start. This skill earned him the DO's parking spot, which I think Beavery still refuses to give up. Macro is secretly the funniest person in 24 Alpha, best known for his deadpan delivery of test report data. This internet sleuth will find the most flattering picture of you online and find a way to seamlessly insert this into every presentation. Shag is a high-gain pilot who somehow managed to fly more F-16 sorties than anybody else in the class, even though it wasn't part of his data group and he didn't fly it for his TMP. He's an individual who, some might say, was genetically engineered for his next job flying the air tractor. Best known for his resting, disappointed dad face, Hyde is the kind of guy who can fit in anywhere. Still not knowing what he wants to do when he grows up, this former engineer turned C-17 pilot, turned B-2 pilot, we'll see if he can bring Airbus's HSI to the KC-46. Midas is the only real pilot in the class. This champion of Strategic Air Command can be found daydreaming about his days in the world's greatest airplane, the B-52. You'd think being a master of 8 engines would make flying a jet with 1 engine easier, but I guess no one's perfect. Slap is one of the hardest working people in 24 Alpha. He could always be found at his desk, working ahead simultaneously on 2 projects, 1 report, and 2 classes worth of homework, all at the same time. Flap, unlike her name, is truly unflappable. She faces adversity with a work ethic that rivals Slap. Good thing they're on the same TMP group and completed everything well ahead of every other group. Beast's judgment is without question, especially when the Strike Eagle pilot is describing all the qualities that make the F-16 Viper better than the F-15E. A true major at heart, Beast was always the first to volunteer lieutenants for additional duty, even before he pinned on no leaves. If you give Dak, MATLAB, and enough time, I'm sure he could solve all the world's problems. Doubling down on his love of coding, Dak could be found debugging MATLAB programs for projects he wasn't even part of. There's not much I can say about Split, and we've been stationed at every base together since 2018, Columbus, Shaw, and here. The only thing I can say for sure is that he's racked up the most travel miles of anybody in 24 Alpha this year. From living part-time in LA to his curriculum break trip to Egypt to visiting 3 graduations on 2 coasts in 1 weekend, Split lived up to his name by putting Edwards in the rearview mirror every Friday at 5:01 p.m. Poppy is easily the most interesting person in the class. If you ever need financial advice, legal advice, or tutoring in one of the 4 languages he speaks, Poppy can help you. If it turns out your problem is outside his wide scope, this polyglot definitely knows a guy. Arson survived his full term as the mayor without challenge and never once lost control. Mostly. His job as mayor gave him the responsibility of mentoring our young engineers and indoctrinating them into Air Force flying culture. Ditch will remember for living up to his name and leaving Bama stranded at the airport in Florida. Even though they were staying at the same hotel, drove to the airport together, and were even on the same flight, Ditch never wondered why the gate agent kept calling over the loudspeaker, Mitchell Jensen, this is your final boarding call. Dibs, you will be remembered for living solely off of factor meals 3 times a day for the past 12 months. But what he lacks in culinary skill, this former D1 basketball star makes up for with impeccable style, winning Best Dress of Class 24 Alpha. Of course, none of us will be here tonight with the hard work and mentorship from the TPS staff. Whether it was early morning briefs, late night exam grading, or sacrifice weekends for study sessions and test report editing, the staff's dedication to 24 Alpha will never be forgotten. And lastly, none of this means anything without the support of our families. Every person sitting around each one of our tables, or if you're Poppy, I think 7 tables, has in some way, big or small, helped us to get to this moment. On behalf of 24 Alpha, I want to thank each and every one of you for your love, your patience, and your sacrifices. And with that, Gizmo, cue the tape.
50, 40, 30, 20.
Can you get a rise out of me?
There's a hole, there's a black mark on her soul. In her hands is my heart, and she won't let go till it's scarred. Try to breathe, but I can't, 'cause the air she feeds me is damned. Got a touch like a thorn, 'cause the girl she's hiding horns. She got cold as ice, and her heart made of stone. But she keeps me alive. She's the beast in her bones. She gets everything she wants when she gets me alone, like it's nothing. She got 2 little horns and they give me a little.
You look confused.
She's a fire in the sand, and I burn breathing her in. two little horns and they give me a little.
You can totally go, woo, 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 out of control.
She got horns like a devil pointed at me, and there's nowhere to run from the fire she breathes. She got horns like a devil pointed at me, and there's nowhere to run from the fire she breathes. She got horns like a devil pointed at me, and there's nowhere to run from the fire she breathes. Horns like a devil pointed at me. She got two little horns and they give me a little bit.
Frankie said I did it my way. I just want to live, I live alive. It's my life, it's now or never. But I ain't gonna live forever. I just want to live, I live alive. It's my life, my heart is like an open highway. Like Frankie said, I did it my way. I just want to live, I live alive. It's my life.
Alumnus.
All right, now for the moment we've all been waiting for. It's time to graduate the students of Class 24 Alpha. Class 24 Alpha, please stand. A lot of orange. It's looking good. Over the past 48 weeks, the faculty of the USOF Test Pilot School tested these candidates and found that they have met all requirements for the Master of Science in Flight Test Engineering degree and the Graduate Certificate in Space Test Engineering. On behalf of the Air University Commander, by virtue of the authority vested in him by the Congress of the United States, I hereby confer upon our flight test course graduates the degree of Master of Science in Flight Test Engineering, and upon our Space Test course graduates, the Graduate Certificate in Space Test Engineering, with all the rights, honors, privileges, and responsibilities here and everywhere pertaining to these degrees. Class 24 Alpha graduates, please be seated. Major General Kane, would you please join me on stage for the presentation of the graduation plaques and round medal objects? Graduates, as your name is called, please come to the stage on my left to receive your graduate plaque and RMO.
Captain Mark Reboot Adams, Experimental Flight Test Engineer, United States Air Force. Reboot graduated from Purdue University with a Bachelor of Science in Computer Engineering. Later, he received his Master of Business Administration from the University of Texas and a Master of Science in Computer Science from the Air Force Institute of Technology. Reboot would like to thank the TPS instructors, the class of 24 Alpha, and his family. Reboot is assigned to the 96th Cyber Test Squadron Experimental Space Test Group. Captain Ismail Split Baumi, Experimental Test Pilot, United States Air Force. Split graduated from the United States Air Force Academy with a Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering. Split would like to thank his family and his girlfriend. Split is assigned to the 416 Flight Test Squadron to fly the F-16. Captain Noah Bouncer Bender, Experimental Flight Test Engineer, United States Air Force. Bouncer graduated from the University of Memphis with a Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering. Bouncer would like to thank Tammy Smeeks for allowing this opportunity to become a reality, as well as her friends and family for the encouragement and motivation while applying and continuing through TPS. Bouncer is assigned to the 416 Flight Test Squadron. Captain Justin Atlas Bishop, Experimental Space Tester, United States Space Force. Atlas graduated from the United States Air Force Academy with a Bachelor of Science in Systems Engineering. He later received his Master of Science in Experimental Space Tester Studies from American Military University. Atlas would like to thank his family, friends, and TPS Class 24 Alpha. Atlas is assigned to the 17th Test and Evaluation Squadron, Missile Warning and Experimental Space Tester Domain Awareness. First Lieutenant Michael Lasso Britton, Experimental Space Tester, United States Space Force. Lasso graduated from Howard Payne University with a Bachelor of Science in Mathematics and later attended Texas Women's University to receive his Master of Science in Mathematics education. Lasso would like to thank his wife Kara and kids Axel and Beatrix. Lasso is assigned to the 1 Test and Evaluation Squadron, Experimental Space Tester Command and Control. Major Matthew Fade Kale, Experimental Test Pilot, United States Air Force. Fade graduated from the United States Air Force Academy with a Bachelor of Science in Aeronautical Engineering. Fade would like to thank his parents for helping him get where he is today, his brother and sister-in-law for their incredible support, and his wife Ashley helped ensure he made it through TPS. He would also like to say thank you to his friends that helped him make it through the year, as none of this would have been possible without them. Fade is assigned to the 419 Flight Test Squadron to fly to B-1. Captain Joseph Arson Christensen, Experimental Test Pilot, United States Air Force. Arson graduated from Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University with a Bachelor of Science in Aerospace Engineering. He later received a Master of Science in Systems Engineering from Colorado State University. Arson would like to thank his wife Lena and Colonel Kojak Melka, his mentor and first operational squadron commander. Arson is assigned to the 416 Flight Test Squadron. F-16, baby. Captain Tyler Dak Despard, Experimental Flight Test Engineer, United States Air Force. Dak graduated from the United States Air Force Academy with a Bachelor of Science and a Master of Science in Mechanical Engineering from Rice University. Dak would like to thank his wife Faith and his children Henry and Charlotte for their unwavering support and patience throughout this past year. He couldn't have done it without them. He also extends his deepest gratitude to his parents John and Bobby for their steadfast encouragement and countless opportunities they have provided him over the years. Dak is assigned to the Operational Flight Program Combined Task Force in Eglin Air Force Base, Florida. Captain David Ditch Durham, Experimental Flight Test Engineer, United States Air Force. Ditch graduated from Texas Tech University with a Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering. He later received a Master of Science in Engineering Management from Arkansas State University. Ditch would like to thank his wife Mercedes, his family, and all of 24 Alpha. Ditch is assigned to Data Mask. Captain Caleb Flex Exposito, Experimental Space Tester, United States Space Force. Flex graduated from the University of North Florida with a Bachelor of Science in Astrophysics. He later received his Master of Business Administration from Colorado Technical University. Flex would like to thank his friends and family. Flex is assigned to 3 Test and Evaluation Squadron. Major Shane Beast Gurman, Experimental Test Pilot, United States Air Force. Beast graduated from the United States Air Force Academy with a Bachelor of Science in Systems Engineering. He later received his Master of Science in Technology and Policy from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Beast would like to say thank you to his wife Megan and his 2 little kiddos Eliza and Sammy. Beast is assigned to the 40th Flight Test Squadron to fly the F-15. Captain Sean Shag Ging, Experimental Test Pilot, United States Air Force. Shag graduated from the Pennsylvania State University with a Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering. He then went on to receive his Master of Business Administration from Louisiana State University. Shag would like to thank his wife Shannon for her support during this time. Shag is assigned to the 417 Flight Test Squadron to fly the AC-130J. Captain Jan Sage Carlos Huertas de la Cruz, Experimental Space Tester, United States Space Force. Sage graduated from the University of Puerto Rico Mayaguez with a Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering, after which he received his Master of Science in Industrial Engineering and Management. Sage would like to thank his fiancée. Her constant encouragement and belief in him ensured he made it through every challenge, even managing to finish his schooling while keeping his hairline intact. Also, he would like to express sincere thanks to his parents for endless love and guidance throughout the journey. Sage is assigned to the 4th Test and Evaluation Squadron, Orbital Electronic Warfare. Flight Lieutenant Mitchell Bama Jensen, Experimental Test Pilot, Royal Australian Air Force. Bama graduated from the Australian Defence Force Academy with a Bachelor of Science in Aeronautical Engineering. Bama would like to express that he's forever grateful to his family for their unwavering support and to his remarkable course mates whose warmth and kindness made his transition to a foreign country feel truly seamless. Bama is assigned to test the E7 Alpha wedge tail. Captain Michael Slap Kostick, Experimental Weapons Systems Officer, United States Air Force. Slap graduated from Michigan Technological University with a Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering. He later attended the Air Force Institute of Technology to receive his Master of Science in Electrical Engineering. Slap would like to thank his fellow classmates, friends, and family, and especially his wife Simona. Slap is assigned to the 40th Flight Test Squadron at Eglin Air Force Base for F-15 and F-15EX test. Major Patrick Hyde Lewis, Experimental Test Pilot, United States Air Force. Hyde graduated from Embry-Riddle with a Bachelor of Science in Aerospace Engineering, after which he attended Florida Tech to attain his Master of Science in Systems Engineering. Hyde would like to thank his devoted wife Vanessa, who has supported him through every step of his Air Force journey. Hyde would also like to extend his thanks to his friends, family, and all of the 24 Alpha Mahalanobians who made this a fantastic year. Hyde is assigned to the 418 Flight Test Squadron to flight a KC-46. Major Kara Crush Meddy, Experimental Space Tester, United States Space Force. Crush graduated from the University of Alabama with a Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering. She later received her first Master of Science in Environmental Engineering from Webster University and her second Master of Science Strategic Studies from Missouri State. Crush would like to thank her classmates from this year. Crush is assigned to the Commander, 17th Test and Evaluation Squadron, Detachment 1. Captain Justine Flap Mulliken, Experimental Flight Test Engineer, United States Space Force. Flap graduated from Loyola Marymount University with a Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering. Flap would like to thank her husband, Matthew, and son, Caleb, for their unwavering support. Flap would also like to thank her parents, Lydia and Barry Skolnick, her godparents, Irene and Merle Muir, and all of her family, near and far, for their continued prayers and support. She would not be where she is today without everyone's unwavering support. Flap is assigned to Data Masked. Captain Dylan Macro Muramoto, Experimental Flight Test Engineer, United States Space Force. Macro graduated from the United States Air Force Academy with a Bachelor of Science in Systems Engineering. He later received his Master of Science in Astronautics and Aeronautics and Astronautics and Master of Science in Technology Policy from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Macro would like to thank his fiancée, Lani, for moving from one of the most populous places on Earth to the driest and most isolated. He promises it will get better from here. He would also like to thank his family for the support they continue to give as he pursues his dream he has had since watching his space shuttle land on TV. Lastly, I'd like to thank his friends and classmates for carrying him through the curriculum and making this year so much more enjoyable than it could have been. Mahalo Nobis. Macro is assigned to the 418 Flight Test Squadron to follow on assignment to Gifu, Japan. First Lieutenant Thomas Ziplock O'Brien, Experimental Flight Test Engineer, United States Air Force. Ziplock graduated from the United States Air Force Academy with a Bachelor of Science in Aeronautical Engineering. Afterwards, he attended Georgia Tech to receive his Master of Science in Aerospace Engineering. Ziplock would like to thank his wife Lauren and his friends and family. Ziplock is assigned to the 420th Flight Test Squadron working on the B-21. First Lieutenant Caleb Quick Overby, Experimental Flight Test Engineer, United States Space Force. Quick graduated from the United States Air Force Academy with a Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering. Afterwards, he received his Master of Science in Aeronautics and Astronautics from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Quick would like to thank his wife Sophia, his parents, and his family back home. He would also like to thank his classmates from 24 Alpha. Quick is assigned to Data Masked. Captain Josh Gizmo Rosler, Experimental RPA Pilot, United States Air Force. Gizmo graduated from the United States Air Force Academy with a Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering. Gizmo later received his Master of Science in Engineering Management. Gizmo would like to thank his mom and dad, his classmates, and a special thank you to his wife Julie. Gizmo is assigned to the 452nd Flight Test Squadron at Edwards Air Force Base, California. Captain Earl Hack Santos, Experimental Space Tester, United States Space Force. Hack graduated from Rutgers University with a Bachelor of Science in Electrical and Computer Engineering. He later attended Johns Hopkins University, where he received his Master of Science in Space Systems Engineering. Hack would like to thank his leadership to the 96 Cyberspace Test Group for being a big influence on him applying to TPS, and to his friends and family for helping him make it through TPS. Hack is assigned to the 1st Testing Evaluation Squadron, Experimental Space Tester C2. Captain Joe Bones Springer, Experimental Flight Test Engineer, United States Air Force. Bones graduated from the United States Merchant Marine Academy with a Bachelor of Science in Marine Engineering. Bones would like to thank his family, his fiancée Brianna, and his classmates. Bones is assigned to the 417 Flight Test Squadron to work on C-130s. Captain Nathaniel Midas Zuch, Experimental Test Pilot, United States Air Force. Midas graduated from the United States Air Force Academy with a Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering. Midas would like to thank Lynn, his wife, and the love of his life, for her patience, forgiveness, and support as his wife and mother of their 3 wild and energetic young boys over this past year. He would also like to thank his 3 boys, Hudson, Lincoln, and Brian, for making him feel like a rock star when he's at home. Midas is assigned to the 419 Flight Test Squadron for the B-52. Captain Niles Dibbs Tate, Experimental Flight Test Engineer, United States Air Force. Dibbs graduated from the Virginia Military Institute with a Bachelor of Science in Electrical and Computer Engineering. Afterwards, he went to the Air Force Institute of Technology to receive his Master of Science in Electrical Engineering. Dibbs would like to thank his friends and family for the continual support through TPS, his 24 Alpha classmates for the support in many study sessions, and Punch Lines and Slow Gen Lunaire for being his mentors. Dibbs is assigned to the 413 Test Squadron at Herbert Field, Florida. Captain Warren Poppy Tishner II, Experimental Test Pilot, United States Air Force. Poppy graduated from the University of Southern California with a Bachelor of Science in Aerospace Engineering. And a Bachelor of Arts in Economics and Business Emphasis. He also received his Master of Science in Product Development Engineering. Specifically, Poppy would like to thank his parents, Warren and Rhonda, his wife, Misha, and the Fanny family, friends, and mentors for their love, support, and encouragement to push the envelope in pursuit of his dreams. Each of you have been instrumental in making this day a reality. Thank you. Poppy is assigned to the 418 Flight Test Squadron to fly a C-17 and KC-46. Major Joey Mittens Tom, Experimental Test Pilot, United States Marine Corps. Mittens graduated from the United States Naval Academy with a Bachelor of Science in Aerospace Engineering. Mittens would like to thank his wife Megan, his parents, and all his friends and family have supported him throughout this journey. Mittens is assigned to VX-31 Dust Devils to fly the FA-18 Hornet flight test. Captain Kevin M. Tran, Experimental Space Tester, United States Space Force. AMP graduated from the University of Texas at Arlington with a Bachelor of Science in Aerospace Engineering. AMP would like to thank the 24 Alpha Gang and his family, Mahalo Nobis. AMP is assigned to the 3rd Test and Evaluation Squadron at Schriever Space Force Base, Colorado. Captain Johannes Brute Weinberg, Experimental Test Pilot, United States Air Force. Brute graduated from the United States Air Force Academy with a Bachelor of Science and Master of Science in Mechanical Engineering. Brute would like to thank his wife, Heather, the love of his life, his friends, his family, and their cat. Brute is assigned to the 40th Flight Test Squadron at Eglin Air Force Base, Florida. Major Matthew Bilbo Bliley, experimental test pilot, United States Air Force. Bilbo graduated from the United States Air Force Academy with a Bachelor of Science in Physics. Bilbo would like to thank his wife Amanda and daughter Nova for their unwavering support as well as all their friends and family that helped 24 Alpha make it through a difficult but rewarding year. His extended family, including Chandra, Mahalanobis, we were also instrumental in making this through the year. Bilbo is assigned to the 461st Integrated Task Force to fly the F-35. Lieutenant Colonel Dustin Dangle White, experimental space tester, United States Space Force. Dangle graduated from multiple schools with a Bachelor of Science in Engineering. He has also received multiple Master of Science degrees from multiple schools. Dangle would like to thank his family, friends, and classmates. Dangle is assigned to commander of the 3rd Satellite Communications Squadron. Major General Kane, thank you. Colonel Vapiani, the stage is yours.
All right. It is a bittersweet moment. Now I get to issue my last order as the cult leader of the Mahalanobians. But as we know, cults never really die, right? So, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the graduating class and the TPS staff, I would like to thank you for sharing this very special evening with us. Please join me in a final round of applause for our newest group of test leaders. Class 24 Alpha, you are dismissed.